Hey, Perfect Spirit. Welcome to Superhero Sunday. I'm your host, Sam Shelley, the Miracle Man, broadcasting live in the Head Trash Anonymous Facebook group. So the agenda for today is normal, talk for a few minutes. Then I give a little practice because you can listen to my words all you want, but it really doesn't make sense to you actually experience that. So I give a little practice and we're just going to wait for some people to join in here. So just do a quick announcement. I renamed all my healing circles, my meditations, to just this circle because the word healing has so many, you know, connotations. It actually blocks healing, and also what you focus on expands. If you're focusing on something wrong with the body, it actually gets worse. So you really want to let go of the word healing. So now I just call it the circle. My next circle is end of the month, which is going to be led by Paracelsus. And we're going to dive into the 0 point and then manifest from there. So you can see headtrashanonymous.org for more details on that. And we're just waiting for people to join the live chat here. Then I will begin to talk for a little bit. Then we'll do that practice. So we're going to really be talking about, head trash is your kryptonite today. All this stuff, all this noise, just creating blocks, things that don't serve you. All right, so I think we're ready to go here. So we'll do a Q&A after the talk and the practice. So when we think about all this head trash, well, first let's back up before we talk about that. So your perfect spirit is your superhero. Everyone has a perfect spirit within them that has all possibilities, all potentials. It's simply the mind creating a block. Like the perfect spirit is limitless. Then the head trash, the kryptonite says, oh, you can't do that. You're not the right age. You're not the right sex. You don't have the right skills. What are some of the stories that you hear on your head trash? Maybe you have this great, brilliant idea. Then your mind starts chiming in why you can't do that. Or maybe you talk about someone about your idea. You talk to them about it, and they come back to you with their head trash, creating limitations. So it becomes a vicious cycle, if you will. So we just got to really just know to relax, to allow our perfect spirit to come online, to awaken your perfect spirit. And that's where really my next book is going to be, this 5-minute cure. And the way you get to the 5-minute cure is by awaken your perfect spirit. So good morning to everyone that's joining the group here, the talk. So I love subscribers. So if you're watching this on YouTube or someplace else, come to my Head Trash Anonymous group. Join the group, join the community, learn how to get out of this and tap into your superhero. Because we all have this ability with unlimited potentials and possibilities. And this is the only thing that's stopping you. So I did put a little note in my group to go to chat.restream.io/FB to give Facebook permission to restream to show your name. Otherwise, I just say, hi, Sam. Good morning, Sam. But I can't acknowledge who you are. So just go into that little link, and it's real quick just to give them permission to show your name. That's one of the downfalls of groups is that the privacy rules. Well, that could be a good thing, but not so good if you're trying to engage with an audience, if you will. So love to hear how, what's the stories that you're believing as your truth? Because we have to realize that no matter how much we believe it to be the truth, it isn't the absolute truth. It's a relative truth to your perspective. And this gets into the way of like procrastination. And this gets you delayed in that, thought paralysis, overthinking things. And it zaps the motivation. It just steals that motivation, that steals that energy. And the way to get out of that is really to stay present in this moment. Because we have to realize the mind is either in the story or in the past. It's rarely here. So the practice that we'll dive into today is really about clearing that head trash and really getting yourself here in this moment. And it's a very simple practice. Maybe today we'll just do 2-3 minutes, something very simple, to the point. And that's what the whole point of all my books is, short and simple, to the point. We don't need all this verbiage to add more noise, more rules, more restrictions. I don't know what my chat is doing, trying to do something there. See if that helps. All right, so that's what we're really talking about today. Now, how is your head trash stopping you? Not really seeing any comments on that because, like I said, Facebook is Facebook. So we're waiting for some comments. We'll do a little practice. Then we'll do the Q&A because that's really where the magic happens. And maybe people aren't here too because we changed clocks last night and the body doesn't adjust too well to the time differences because mine's used to these rituals, routines, these habitual patterns that we get into. So time changes are difficult for the mind to bring the body back into harmony, into synchronicity. Things get a little displaced for a few days. So we're just going to sit here, relax, do a little simple practice to clear that kryptonite, clear the head trash. So we're just sitting here relaxing, nothing to do, nothing to accomplish. Perhaps close your eyes to remove the external stimulations. But that's really it. It's just a sitting, relaxing. If you notice the mind pulling you, you don't judge, you don't condemn. You just bring your attention back to my voice. And the reason we don't want to judge, we don't want to condemn, we don't want to add fuel to the head trash. And criticism is just more fuel. Judgment is just more fuel. You get enough criticism fuel, you will manifest an autoimmune disease. The body will see that, oh, you're not good enough. Let's attack this body. We want to let all that go and just relax. Hear this voice. Feel your feet on the floor. This is the practice to get into this moment. Because the mind you can either be in the mind or in touch with perfect spirit. And when you're here fully in tune to spirit, you are the superhero in your life. You have no limitations, just infinite possibilities and potentials. So we're clearing out all that noise, all those distractions that are preventing us from stepping into our truth, into our way of being. And our way of being is perfect. We all have our unique spiritual journey. So march to that voice within you, that intuitive voice that simply says, do this, do that, with no commentary, no rules, no restrictions, just to do it. But then the mind comes along with the rules. We ignore the mind and live from spirit. Spirit knows the way. We trust this knowing. And we trust this knowing, our self-esteem improves, our self-confidence improves. It's just a matter of sitting here, relaxing, getting yourself back into this moment. Now we're going to open our eyes and shift to that practice, to a mindfulness practice while you're here, going throughout the day, because that's really where the mind starts chiming and chatting. That's why you see like a lot of angry meditators, because when their eyes are closed and you're sitting in controlled space, this mind isn't triggering you, pulling you. So just notice your surroundings when you're here, because this can be a mindfulness practice. Like, what's the color of my shirt? Notice the headset I'm wearing. Just bring your attention fully into this moment. Feel where your feet are. See the edge of your screen. Is it metal? Is it plastic? If you touch it, is it hot, cold? It's really that simple. And the mind will grow bored. Oh, hey, Casey. Hey, Paula. Thanks for joining. So just notice the words that are here on the screen. That's also getting you into this moment. But no story, no attachment. I'm not thinking like, hey, Paula. Hey, Casey. I'm not into the story. Well, oh, I don't like Paula. She did this to me. And the mind gets triggered by seeing names that time. So you just want to pull back from that and say, oh, there goes that mind again, creating enemies, creating division. Because I know Paula is a perfect spirit. Casey is a perfect spirit. I don't need to define them. The mind will try to define them all the time because that's the kryptonite. It creates that division. And we have too much division in society today. So we want to see everyone as a perfect spirit, simply doing their best based on their depth of their awareness and this head trash. Most people try to find the balance between here and here. And it's difficult. Most people just live up here in the head trash, not having that awareness. So let's see if there's any questions that I can answer for you. But mindfulness is just really being here in this moment. There's really no rules. You're just no labels, no defining. Yes, it's really that simple. And the mind wants to make it so complex. Spirit loves all unconditionally. You don't need approval from spirit to take action from this deeper place. But usually we're acting from here. And spirit's saying, go this way, go this way, go this way. And the mind's saying, no, 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 I got to go do this. I got to go fight. I got to go battle. No, keep peace. Perfect spirit is the peace that is within you. All right, let's see if there's any questions here. Let me pull up my phone and see if there's any, because I'm not seeing names, but that's okay. Because you have to get to that restream for me to see the names. So I just want to make this on mute so we don't get an echo. And I'm going to dive into, see if there's any questions here that I can answer for you. Because I really want to know what you're facing. What's your situation? How can I help you? It's really about time for you. That's why I come to this group every Sunday live to answer those questions, to see what your challenges are. And let's take a look here. Should there be any comments in here? All right. So all comments, great. Okay. So hey Paula, hey Rob, hey Casey, hey Dana, and hi Dowie. Yeah, so we got some people here. So if there's any questions. So it's good to see everyone this morning. So is everybody ready to soar today? Everyone ready to take off? Everyone ready to fly? If you're not, then what's the story? All right, let me bring this comment up so we can, so everybody can read it here. Yeah, so that's it. Because everything is temporary. So even when you're attaching positive labels, so maybe you see that full moon is so beautiful, then a cloud comes over suddenly, and you're like, darn, I really love that moon. And the mind gets into upset because the mind is always in this emotional state that conditions have to be a certain way. Because your mind wouldn't be saying that full moon is so beautiful probably if it was downpouring rain, because you won't be able to see the moon. So be like, oh, there's a full moon tonight, but it's raining. It's doing all this stuff. And you just get lost in that. And it's everything. Like people are happy for a moment, then sad the next, because their conditions are constantly changing. So spirit sees everything as neutral, neither good nor bad. But sometimes you do need these elevated emotions, if you will. And this is what I discovered too, because when I had my spiritual center, I was always in a neutral place, if you will. But to manifest, you need to be in an uplifted state. And that's what we're really be talking about, in the circled end of the month. And one of the things that's coming to me is we're going to be setting the mood so your mood is elevated. So you have some memories, some thoughts to give that fuel. Because if it's just a neutral manifestation, there's no fuel, there's no energy behind that. So you need this uplifted energy to move that. So happiness is really a useful energy to have that motivation. So one of the things you do want to look for is that one thing right here, right now, that elevates your mood, to give you the momentum to push forward through the mind, because the mind's going to do everything it can to stop you, to slow you down, to really just slow you down. But it really is just being here with no judgments, no criticism. But you also want to, if you're in a state of manifestation, you want to be a little elevated. Because when I was sitting in my spiritual center neutral, nothing was happening. If nothing was happening, no resources were coming in to support this center. So it had to be closed. Because it wasn't like, yes, let's make this center go. Let's do this. Let's do this. No, there was no doing energy at that time. I had to learn that you need this doing energy. Okay, let me see what else we can show now. Yeah, let's do this. It's also a good point here, right? Also, my labels affect others. It's not up to me to tell others how to label either, right? We want to be neutral to them. I always see like the job of parents is to be their biggest cheerleader, their biggest supporter, even though if you know up here from your own experience, it's not going to work. But why should you impact their spiritual journey? They don't really know until they try. That's why I do these practices. So you get to have that experience to actually know. But yeah, labeling is really defeating, my experience with doctors, they tell you, oh, you're not going to be able to do this anymore. You can't do this. Oh, you have to take this medicine for the rest of your life. And that's also labeling. The story is the label. You need to do this for the rest of your life. You can't do this. Labels. Let that go. Be a cheerleader. Support one another. Because we're all different expressions of perfect spirit. We always want to wish the best for another, because that's the supportive energy. If you're jealous of somebody because of their wealth, you're blocking your own wealth. If you're jealous of someone because of their health, you're blocking your own health, because that's a very blocking type of energy. Okay, let's dive. Okay, let's just go through these here. So you got to really realize that negative people are lost in head trash. They don't know any better. That's just their routines, their rituals. They're addicted to their own pain, their own suffering. They don't know that they're not here in this moment. So the way you shift these so-called negative people, if you will, is to love them unconditionally, to acknowledge the perfect spirit within them. Like namaste, the light within me acknowledges the light within you. And you don't want to attach to their own negativity. You just want to push through it like it doesn't even exist. Just like, hey, how are you doing today? Yeah, I know that's tough that you're going through that, but that's okay. You're alive right now. You got new possibilities, new potentials here. If you speak to them like that after a while, they're not going to, they're either going to be attracted to you or repel from you. And that's fine if they repel. That's fine. They're not meant to be in your life. And they won't hang around with you if they're a coworker. They'll tell you one thing and they're out of there. They don't want to hear your positive stuff. They like their negativity. They like their mental junk drawer. They're just in love with that, but they don't know any better. So yeah, it's like, yeah, that's what's going on. But hey, you're alive. There's possibility here. Just try that on them. They'll run away. All right, let's see what else. Let's see what else we got here today. Oh, if somebody say, okay, so you're in a great place. Someone makes a comment that strikes you. How can you keep centered? Yes, this has all sorts of triggers up here. And especially your spouses, they know how to push those buttons. But you get to realize that's doing your own practice, your own work of noticing, oh, the mind's getting triggered. And when you notice the mind being triggered, you come back into this moment, because if you're being triggered, you're not fully here in this moment. You're lost in this story. So it's a matter of like, where are my feet? Where are my hands? What are they wearing? If the person says something to you that is off-centering, notice their clothing, notice how they're standing. Really bring your attention back here, because you can either be up here or in this moment. You can't be in two places at one time. The mind cannot multitask. The conscious mind cannot multitask. So you have to realize lost in story or here. And just that's the practice. Being mindful throughout the day of just noticing when the mind's lost, triggered, and you just come back to here. And maybe later that night, you come back and you work on that trigger. Maybe when it's a different environment where you can do a meditation on that. Where did this come from? Where are the roots of this story that's triggering me? I see you, trigger. Now that I see you, you have no power over me. Goodbye. And it's really that simple to get that away, to get that out of here. Because you're meant to be the superhero. You're meant to be perfect spirit. And the whole point of life is to have the human experience and to remember who you are outside of that experience, that you are perfect spirit. You're not the stories. No matter how much you believe these stories to be true, they're not the truth. They're only true from their relative perspective. The truth that can be spoken is not the great truth. So once you realize that, then life is a little bit different. Let's see what else is coming here. Yes, exactly right. Yeah, because I just did a video on how to communicate with those that are unresponsive, dementia, coma. You can still connect to the spirit within them, and that might be an interesting practice to try when you're home, not in that environment, but when you're home. You bring this person to mind. You do this practice I talked about in there. You connect to their spirit, their soul, and you communicate with them at the deeper level. And you keep communicating with a deeper level. Keep sending them love. Keep sending them positive vibes, good vibes, if you will. And in time, you're going to see that person shift because we're all connected. We all have an influence on another. It may be very subtle at first. You may have tried this for a week and no changes. But that's okay. You keep doing it. In time, they will shift. You got to realize this is like a big eggshell up here. It's just getting calcified, getting thicker and thicker as time increases. So the more head trash is piling on. So you're sending this love to clear that, and it's softening it, but there's still adding. But eventually that light will break through. This is the strongest energy of the universe. Perfect spirit is the strongest energy of the universe, and it will pierce through. This is why when people pray for another, they have changes, because it's that divine love that makes all changes. So darkness cannot exist. It will try to hang out for as long as possible, but eventually it will soften and will allow some light to come in. Then eventually, hopefully, that person will catch onto that light and realize that is them, and they will be mentally free. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Yes, just think of it. What's the simplest way to get back into this moment? The mind loves complexity. So when you're dealing with complexity, it's telling you're operating from the mind. Like you have a big challenge in life and the mind's making it really complicated how to solve it, dive within. It will give you the next step and the next step and the next step. The mind doesn't like that. It wants to know the whole plan, all the details. So you just worry about the next step. That's all you need to focus on, the next step. Then taking action. Usually perfect spirit's always whispering to you to do this, do that, but we don't act on that information. So when you have that gut instinct that you need to go do something a certain way, but your mind convinces you to do it another way, then you look back and say, oh, I should have done it the first way. And this is the practice of just trusting yourself, that you know what's best, you know the way forward, but there's easy ways to get yourself back here into this moment. Notice your shoes, notice their earrings, whatever it may be. Get out of the story and just love them. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. All right. So it doesn't matter what the story is, no matter how major or minor, the cure is the same. Give energy to the moment and not to the story. Right. Because the true energy of transformation is peace. Perfect spirit is always in this neutral state of peace. It loves all unconditionally. Spirit doesn't need approval to earn spirit's love. Spirit loves you regardless of what you're doing. Yes, you may have to answer some questions when you get to the other side. I really don't know if you're a really mean, evil person here in this human experience. You might have to do some serious life review and be responsible for your actions, but that's not our job here on earth. That's in the spiritual realms. Let them figure it out. But for right here, just be the embodiment of love. And something interesting happens too when you operate from this place. The people around you will change if possible, unless they're a coworker, but you can at least soften a coworker. You'll see people around you will change. The negative Nellies, if you will, they'll run away. They don't like your positivity. They'll run away. Then you'll attract more people to you like a moth to a flame. They'll just come to you. Then there's these synchronicities that just happen, just magical synchronicities that you just can't explain. Things just show up. Least expected, they just show up because the spirit is rooting you on, cheering you on. And you're always in place of gratitude, or like, thank you for this experience. You'll get more good things to be thankful about. Yeah, so you got to realize all of our power is right here, right now. Ram Dass talked about this in the 60s. Eckhart Tolle talked about in The Power of Now. And that book is still a bestseller. All the power is right here, right now. And the 5-minute cure is really about learning to tap into perfect spirit, where all your power is. It's not in the stories. And so it's going to be a very short, simple book. Here's different ways to get back into the moment. And that's basically what it's going to be. Right. It's always sending out the positive energy, that good intent, to not have jealousy, to not have comparison, envy, all these kind of emotions you don't want to send out into the world, because you're really sending that back to yourself. And that's going to cause a lot of stagnation, a lot of issues. You might experience, poverty, health issues. This is why you don't want to focus on like healing the body, because you give that energy like there's something wrong to the body. So the body does what the body does. So if you feel something is off to the body, you send love to the body. Oh, I see you're feeling a little off today, arm. Maybe it's cramping up or something isn't quite right. But you don't focus on it. Just like, let me send you some love. And you just get quiet. And you just send that love. You mentally touch it with your mind, sending love to that. And you don't worry about, the arm. If any insight comes in to go do this, go do that, to take care of the arm, you do that. But you don't stress and worry about it, because it just makes it worse. Okay, good. This is a good one. Okay, yeah. What are my expectations? Are they stories about the future? Well, there's difference here between setting goals, expectations. It's about really setting that intention. And not worrying about the how. I intend to do this. Expectations is expecting a certain specific outcome, a specific result. You just set the intention and trust that the greatest good that satisfies that intention will come true. Because what's going to happen if you set these goals, these expectations, and that time arises on that date, and things are not as the mind believed they were going to be, it's going to cause an extreme amount of stress, anxiety, panic attacks, worry. The mind will be triggered into something. So the best case scenario is to go in this deeper place and just keep setting intentions. Setting intentions, like when we're painting with light at the end of the month for the manifestation. We're going to paint with this light our future scene, if you will. But we're not going to be attached to the outcomes. Not going to have the expectations. Just trusting the greatest good of that intention is going to come true. Because you might want this or that, but Spirit knows that you really need this. If you get this into place, everything else falls into place. So Spirit doesn't make any mistakes. It's always going what you need for your greatest good of your human experience. Because it's always cheering you on, rooting you on. But you can't set an intention, I want this red car, this model, all these features. No, Spirit's going to give you, maybe manifest a car for you, or manifest a better job that will allow you to get the car of your dreams, but it will do something along that effect. But it might not give you exactly that red car, because it's like, I know if I get you the red car, you're going to get yourself into trouble. But I want to get you a better income, a better job, So you won't need that car. You'll shift into a different perspective and say, oh, that car doesn't meet my needs anymore. I need something more luxurious. That we have to stop putting like these expectations, create a stop, if you will. There's nothing beyond it. And spirit is always going beyond what you think is possible. Let's see if there's anything else to talk about here today. So this is a nice, interesting conversation. This is what I want here for Sundays, is to have this conversation in the head trash group, so we can just, have this circle that we can all connect and support each other. Okay, we can hide this now. Let's see. Let's see what this is. Right. So no, see, if I do this, then is mental stuff. That's, if you see if then, it's always mental. You always just set the intention with no attachment to the outcome. Like when we're painting with light to manifest, we're painting the scene, but we're saying it's okay if this doesn't come true. Something greater, we're allowing something greater to come through. Because mine might be fixated on one thing, and you're setting the intention for that one thing. But then spirit is like, yes, you can have that. It's always saying, yes, you can have that. But this will be for your greater good, that will allow you to have this and beyond. Just setting that intention. So you start taking the steps to do this, to do that. But it's really like, if then expectations. You're painting with light if you're manifesting. And you don't attach to the outcome. There's no expectations. You just trust the greatest good is going to come through and allow this to happen, or greater. Or greater. That's what you really need to focus on. I would like this to happen, or greater. It's always setting the intention, or greater. Because spirit is unlimited. Right. This is exactly right. Expectations limit us. Right. Intentions and trust allow this or something more. Exactly. Limitations. You might have a limitation like, I want to make $10,000 this month. You just cap yourself at $10,000. If you say, spirit, I need at least $10,000 to, I set the intention to make $10,000 this month. You don't worry about the how. You just keep doing this or that. You're not focused on the fruit of your labor, as it says in the Bhagavad Gita. You're not worried about the fruit. You just worry about the action. So I keep doing this, I keep doing that. And lo and behold, at the end of the month, I made $25,000 because I wasn't focused on the fruit. I wasn't focused on the outcome. I was just doing this or that as spirit instructed me to do. So hopefully that helps. All right, let's hide this for now. I think we're caught up. Oh, we got to do the right caption. This is the caption that we want right now. Okay, yeah, Soul Messages is tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then we'll be pulling cards at that point. And let's see what else. Yes, that's so true. We want no limitations. Expectations is once again kryptonite. It's the story. You need to let that go. You really need to tap into who you truly are, limitless. Everything is possible. And once you know that, you're just going to soar. I'm here. This group is really here to help you soar, to fly, to have that life that you intend to live when you came into this world. You didn't come in this world to be impoverished necessarily, or to be in poor health. You came in with all these potentials and possibilities. It's very few that come here with a really difficult hardship to overcome. But most of the people that do come here come to thrive. Sometimes the hardships are necessary to allow humanity to grow, to have that compassion for all. But that's not the intention for most. Okay, let's bring this up. Let's dive into this. Okay, I'm still confused on the difference between trying to improve my life, health, finances, and simply allowing. It's a fine line. But if you're setting the intentions, this deeper place, and you don't worry about how this is going to happen, you simply don't worry about it. You get into this deep place, you set those intentions, and you just do this and you do that. You operate from this deeper place. Trying to improve is head trash. It's a state of lack of scarcity. It's really kryptonite. It really is. Trying to improve. Just trust. When I dive in, set intentions, everything will improve because spirit has no limitations. Trying to improve is saying you're lacking, you're missing something. Perfect spirit is fine. It's tapped into all the abundance of the universe, life, health, finances, whatever it may be. It's always tapped in, and it knows the way to get there. So trying to improve isn't helpful. It's a limitation. It's really getting deep, or being here in this moment will open up doors for you. Because maybe if your blinders are on, you're really fixated on one thing you're doing right now, but you need to step back, be in this moment. I was going this way, but I see something over there. What's that? It might be, is what they talk about, there might be signs, symbols around you that you're not noticing. So you see a book over there that catches your eye. You were going this way, but you just happen to notice in the bookstore, there's a book that catches your eye. A new book came out and they have this big display of it. And you're just captivated by that. So you're like, that's getting my eye. I guess I need to go buy that book. And that's how it works. Okay. Well, yeah. So yes, it's really setting the intentions and then trusting. And then once you set that intention and trusting, maybe after you set that intention, maybe you set instead of set the intention, maybe the question you ask yourself, what is the next step? So that intention every so often, just to remind yourself, this is my intention. You don't want to keep doing it nonstop 24 hours a day. That's not healthy. Set that intention, then inquire, what's my next step? Then every so often set that intention just to remind yourself, what am I moving toward? And then what is the next step? Then the next step. Okay, got it. And then focusing on the how to improve. Focusing on improving is poverty mindset. Yes. Thank you for that clarity. Right. There's nothing you need to improve. You just haven't been listening to spirit. That's why you're in a deficit. That's just what came to me. When you're not operating from spirit, you're living in deficit. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know where this stuff comes from. I just get quiet and allow it to rise up. And we all have this ability to get quiet and allow it to rise up. And that's what you're trying to do when you're in this moment. You're allowing wisdom to rise up. Because if you're not in this moment, you're in this story as you're walking through life, you're missing the insights. You're missing the information that's coming. Because spirit is usually not going to repeat the same thing 50 times until you hear it. Because it's always giving you information in that moment. Because life is fluid. So you're always moving some direction, and spirit is always giving information, if you will, in that moment. So it's not going to say to keep doing something over and over and over again. It will come back to that eventually, but it won't be in like 50 times repeating it in a row. It will just repeat it every so often, but not all that frequently. Right, the real key is there. If you're not spiritually in tune, you're living in deficit, because the spirit is infinite possibilities and potentials. So if you're lacking anything, it's because you haven't been listening to spirit. So when I look at my own life, I was sick for nearly 40 years because I wasn't listening to myself. When I listened to myself, it all went away. That deficit, the poor health, just went away. Because there's no more story attached to it that I had to heal, that I was going to be a sick man for the rest of my life. It's just all those stories. So yeah, if you're lacking anything, it's just a deficit. Now listen to Spirit puts you into deficit because Spirit wants the best for you. We're here to thrive. We're here to live an amazing life with no limits, all possible. Because we have to trust when we live in this deeper place, all is well. Whatever you're facing, it's just your current human experience. That's it. It's a temporary reality, but this is eternal. This was never born and it never dies. It's the energy of the universe, this divine love. Okay, let's dive into this. This is a good one. All right. My conundrum if I have health issues, it seems that if I do nothing, then nothing will change. That's the mind telling you to do nothing. Once again, if you're in this deeper place, the Spirit is going to say, do this, do that. Then you need to act on that. Spirit's not just going to give you wisdom, say, just ignore it. No, Spirit is giving you the steps. You don't have to figure anything out. It's all right here. And what was coming to me, was sometimes we get into these routines, these rituals, these protocols that aren't for our greatest good. So we do it for a little while, then it fades away. Then we do it for a while, then it fades away because it's coming from here. This did not give you the instructions. Your mind attached to that, like, oh, this is my way. No, your way is unique to you. Maybe parts of the protocol are for you, but not the whole protocol. So Spirit maybe is trying to get your attention to dive deeper, to let go of the routines, the rituals, and follow your recipe. Like I didn't really know what I was doing day to day. I just listened to this voice because we get to realize this only gives you the next step. It's not giving you 3-4 steps. It's giving you the next step. Next step might be reduce your medicine a quarter. Go sit in meditation for 20 minutes. Drink more water. Less TV. Less meat. Do yoga. That was one of my more fun instructions was do yoga. Okay, I'll go do yoga. So I was driving by, going to work. I drove past a yoga studio and I just knew that was my yoga studio. So after work, I went there and signed up. You just trust. So that's the way Spirit works. It gives you something bizarre like do yoga. And you're like, okay, I'll go do yoga. Okay, where I'm going to go do yoga. And then eventually, you're driving down the road, you pass a yoga studio. It's like, there's my yoga studio. So let's see what we have here. So don't do nothing. Simply be quiet and listen. Then after you listen and you get instructions, act on those instructions. Don't let it sit idly by because that voice will come up and squash that knowing. The mind doesn't want to give up control. It really doesn't. The mind is comfortable with you being uncomfortable because it's familiar. The mind likes to operate in familiar territory. The unknown terrifies the mind. It simply does not like it because it's trying to keep you safe. It's that reptilian mind that we developed, thousands upon thousands of years ago to keep us safe from lions and things like that. It always wanted to know what was around the corner to keep safe. But we don't need to do that in this society. But still, the mind is terrified of the unknown. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this painting with light session at the end of the month. That's going to be really interesting. Haven't done that in a while, but it's a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun experience. On the 31st, we're doing the circle. Yeah, I just call them the circle now because there's no labels. When you think of the circle, it's just sitting in community and being the one perfect spirit, allowing the information to come through, allowing the balance to happen within the body. Because once in a while we're storing these emotions in the body that are not helpful to us. So we need to release all that stuff, allow our inner light to shine out. It's very basic. If things are complex, difficult, it's not the way. It's not the way. And sometimes it is difficult. When I was first told to do yoga, and I did yoga, yeah, I just dealt with multiple sclerosis for 7 years. So my balance was like all over the place and pretty wild. But I didn't judge myself or condemn myself. I was just like, the body's doing what the body does. And I had just had this peace within me that all is well. And I'm just meant to do this. So I wasn't judging that experience, even though it was difficult, complex, you could say, for the body to suddenly do yoga after being sick for so long. But I didn't judge it or condemn it. I never once had a thought saying, I can't do this. It's like, this is what I can do right now. This is just what I can do right now. And that's fine. That is fine. So even because you have to realize your skills build up over time. You're not an instant expert. So you keep doing things step by step by step. The mind will grow bored. It will want to give up. It will want to throw in the towel. But you just keep trusting. Keep trusting. This is my way. This is my way. And things will turn in ways you can't explain, because we're not worried about the how. We just set the intention and go. So is there anything else for today, or will we wrap up for today and we'll be back tomorrow? And next Sunday we'll dive more into this. So just realize this head trash is your kryptonite. It's preventing you from soaring. It's preventing you from flying. It's preventing you from being the true you, your true self. So that's it. We just had to think about, the complex, the difficulties. We want to let go of all these labels, all these identities. Letting go of anything being wrong or not right. It's just the current experience. And we can change course. Destiny is not fixed. You can change course. Let's see what this comment is. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to interpret signs and symbols. If you're trying to guess what it means, then just sit and say, can you give me clarity on this? What's coming to me, Mom, I noticed you gave me this sign, but I don't understand. Could you please clarify? That's what's coming to me if my mom was going to give me a sign or a symbol. I would just go into meditation. Mom, I saw you sent me this flower. I'm not sure what that means. Could you please clarify for me? Because what's beautiful too, we didn't talk about this today, what's beautiful too, when you're in tune with perfect spirit, you're connected to all perfect spirits, whether they're in body or not in body. Because we're all connected to all that is. So we all have these gifts. We just may not be practiced at them, or this is creating interference. And anything else before we wrap up today? Yeah, it's really one of the challenges for like soul messages is sometimes we do get these flashes, we do get these images, and we don't necessarily have the time to really dive in and figure it out. That's why sometimes we'll say, does this mean anything to you? Because I really don't know when we're trying to do those readings so quick, so fast. We simply don't know. Okay, well, I don't see any more comments here, so I'm going to wrap up for the day. So thanks for joining, and you can always leave questions here in the group. I'm there every day checking them, and I just come live once a week to little short talk, practice, and questions. Like I talked about before, Francis Lucille, spiritual teacher, he doesn't do talks anymore. He only does questions because it's not about his experience. He just wants to help you move through your experience. All right, enjoy your breakfast, Rob. Yeah, it's morning there, and some like Dowie need to get some sleep because it's late there. It's really amazing, all these different human experience. Somebody's just eating breakfast, getting your day started, and somebody's getting ready for bed. It's because it's perfect, this human experience, that we get to have billions of different experiences that are adding to the collective wisdom, the collective knowledge. So when you don't know something, you ask Spirit, who's connected to all that is. And with practice and patience, an answer will arise. All right, well, take good care of yourself. Be the superhero in your life. All things are possible. Let's go. Not the only thing stopping you down is your kryptonite. Throw it out. It's like a big hunk of rock. Just throw it out the window. That mental junk drawer, just throw it out, burn it, whatever you need to do. Do that. All right. Take good care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.